Hey, what's up guys, John here. The US just launched a program that is expected to bring in more than $10 billion in cash from the world's wealthiest. And almost no one is talking about what this means for the average American. It's called the Trump Gold Card. And yes, it's exactly what it seems.
We're going to be selling a gold card.
For $1 million and a $15,000 one-time fee, anyone in the world can buy their way into America.
We've just launched the Trump Gold Card. It's somewhat like a green card, but with big advantages over a green card.
Permanent residency, faster processing, and a clean, straight shot towards citizenship. And the people lining up aren't your everyday single-digit millionaires. We're talking about ultra-high net worth individuals, $30 million net worth families and above. Corporate executives, investment groups, people that aren't coming here looking for a job or an opportunity. They're looking for assets. They're looking for a place to park cash. Because that is what wealthy people do. They buy real estate, they buy land, they buy companies, they expand. So the big question isn't, what is the gold card? The real question is, what happens to affordability, housing, and the US consumer when America opens the doors to the world's richest buyers, right at a time when regular people are struggling the most? Let's break this all down. All right, so what exactly is the gold card? Think of it like the premium express lane into America.
He's opening up this financial pathway for people that want to have U.S. citizenship.
But instead of needing a job offer or special skill or a business plan, the only requirement is money. And some would say a lot of it. So here's how it works. You strike a check for $1 million, you pay a $15,000 one-time fee, you pass a background check, a security check, and in return you get fast-tracked access into America as a resident. Something that millions of regular immigrants wait years or sometimes decades for. There is no job creation requirement, no proving that you're filling a labor shortage, no EB-5 style promise that you're going to hire American workers. It's literally a pay-to-play system, officially launched and already attracting global investors who see the U.S. as the safest place to store wealth.
Now, they do replace a 35-year-old visa program aimed at bringing investors and job creators to the U.S.
We're going to end the EB-5 program. We're going to replace it with the Trump Gold Card.
Which brings us to the bigger issue. If the people coming in have that type of liquidity to drop 7 figures on a residency, what do you think they're going to come here to buy? Because this is not about jobs. It's about opportunity. It's about assets. It's about growth. So here's where things get interesting. And honestly, for some, a little uncomfortable. People who are spending $1 million to enter the country are not coming here to climb the ladder. Some would say they're already at the top of it. They're not looking for a $90,000 or $100,000 a year tech job or some startup visa. They're coming here to buy things. And in today's economy, the people that own assets, they're the people that are winning. Because wealthy families, they don't try to earn money. They try to invest it. They're buying real estate. They're buying apartment buildings. They're buying distressed office buildings. They're buying farmland. They're buying what will grow in value in the coming years and decades. And the US is basically saying, hey world, if you have capital, come over here and invest it. The market's wide open. And that's great for investors. But for the regular everyday American who's already struggling due to high housing costs, rising rent, and shrinking purchasing power, and then adding a lot more asset hunters, it's like adding gasoline to a fire that's already burning hot. And this leads us straight to the concern of real affordability. Now let's talk about where this really hits home. Housing. Because America is not starting from zero here. We're already inside of one of America's worst affordability crises in decades. Rents are still sitting near record highs in most cities. Starter homes cost twice what the average home buyer can comfortably afford. And they claim that we are short 7 million affordable housing units, which is why half of renters are considered cost burdened. People are getting priced out of their own neighborhoods, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because wages are not keeping up with housing costs and they haven't for more than 20 years. So when you suddenly open the door to thousands of high net worth individuals, people who can make cash offers without blinking, it doesn't take a genius to see what happens next. They're not out there competing to live in the cheapest homes. What their purchases are of acquiring assets in bulk, pushing up land values, pushing up property taxes. And some would say pushing up the cost of living in the cities in which they move into, instead of a market and economy that's already stretched pretty thin. Even a small wave of new capital could push a lot of people over the edge. And here's the part that no one wants to talk about. While new millionaires are lining up to buy American assets, American consumers are running out of room and air to breathe. Credit card debt has now eclipsed $1.2 trillion. This is the highest that's ever been in American history.
Elizabeth, Americans' total credit card balances now stand at a record high $1.2 trillion.
Delinquencies are rising across the board. Credit cards, auto loans, even home utilities.
Alarming new numbers that show rising default rates on credit card loans, now at the highest level since just after the 2008 financial crisis.
And more than 50% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
The number of Americans living paycheck to paycheck is increasing, pushing back the goal of retirement. 39% of Gen Z, 45% of millennials, and 41% of Gen X describe their financial situations as primarily living paycheck to paycheck.
Just hoping nothing unexpected hits their bank account this month. People aren't swiping their credit cards for vacations anymore. They're swiping for groceries, rent, and medical bills. Buy now, pay later has become a survival tool, not a shopping trend.
More Americans are taking out short-term loans just to buy their groceries. They're eating now and paying later, but many are then missing payments on that very bill.
So think about this contrast just for a second. On one side, you have families juggling debt at 25% adjustable interest rates. And on the other side, you have thousands of high net worth individuals looking to come here to deploy capital that have the ability to buy homes in cash, apartment buildings in cash. It's not just inequality. It's two different worlds colliding, which actually makes this a perfect moment to introduce the sponsor of today's video, Giant Mining Corp, stock ticker BFGFF, a U.S. copper exploration company operating the Majuba Hill project in Nevada, one of America's long-standing mining jurisdictions. Now here's why copper has suddenly become front-page economic news. The US and China are now locked in a real competition over mineral supply chains. Copper isn't just for wiring, it's essential for defense systems, power grids, and AI infrastructure. And right now, the US relies heavily on foreign refining, especially from China. In 2025, the Trump administration moved aggressively to change that. Executive Order 14220 kicked off a national security investigation into copper imports. By July, the US imposed 50% tariffs on semi-finished copper goods starting August 1st. The administration also improved the Ambler Road project, opening access to major domestic deposits. And copper was proposed for the 2025 critical minerals list, putting it in the same category as other strategically important resources. All of this signals a major shift towards rebuilding U.S. copper production capacity. Giant Mining's Majuba Hill project is tied to this broader trend. It's a past-producing site with historical output of copper, gold, silver, and tin, plus existing infrastructure like access roads, power nearby, and space for potential future development. The company's stock is currently trading near its 2025 lows, following a significant price drop earlier this year. As always, do your own research and make decisions based on your personal financial situation. You can learn more about Giant Mining Corp, ticker BFGFF, using the link below. At this point, you can really see this split happening. On one side, you have a consumer base stretched thinner than ever. And on another side, you're watching a wave of new capital flooding in to American assets. And when money moves at this scale, it can reshape everything, from markets to industries, even opportunities that most people don't think about. So what happens next? Because a program like this doesn't just sit quietly in the background, it creates ripple effects. Even if just a few thousand ultra high net worth individuals take this offer, you're talking about tens of billions of dollars entering the US economy, entering assets. And when that capital flows directly into the places that most Americans live, cities like Miami, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Chicago, you name it. All the big hubs, is we're going to start seeing a lot of capital flight. And then once that capital is parked, they're going to be exploring America for other opportunities, for more lucrative opportunities. And that money is going to gradually flow, I believe, from coast to coast, which likely will equate to higher prices. But I want to be clear. I'm not saying that this is going to be the cause of the affordability crisis. I think we're already really in one. The point is that smart people do smart things. They invest their money. They don't sit in a Bank of America account with $10, $20 million in it. No, they're going to borrow money They're going to invest in hard real assets that are going to grow in value over time because they know that fiat currency is going to lose over the long term. So they want to buy things that are going to produce income. They want to buy things that are going to grow in the years to come. So the real concern is, once this door opens, does it close, or will assets continue to lift upwards? More demand, more money, more competition, all landing in a country that previously had a middle class, now no more, where it's going to be the have-nots and the have-yachts. So then that leads us to the bigger question. Who is this new America really built to support? At the end of the day, the gold card is not an immigration story. It's a window into what America has become. Because right now, we are watching two Americas collide. One economy is built on capital. People who can move money, they can buy assets and use that wealth to create more wealth. And the gold card fits that perfectly. The other economy, in the other world, is built on wages. People trying to keep up with rent, groceries, childcare, insurance, debt payments, and falling behind month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year, more and more and more. And what makes this moment so important is just how radically fast America is changing. So as this program likely builds a new opportunity for high net worth individuals on a global scale to come to America, the real question becomes, if the future America is based on who can afford to buy in, where does that leave the bottom 90%? Because I believe the gap from now until 2030 is going to reveal significant change in this country. What are your thoughts about this entire situation? Do you think we're going to see an influx of capital from abroad? Do you think we're going to see a lot of money flowing into entry-level housing, turning them into rentals? Do you think we're going to start to see a lot of attention on commercial real estate? We have a $2.6 trillion commercial real estate crisis ahead over the next 24 to 36 months. Drop below, let's have a conversation about it, and I'll catch you next video.